Hey everyone, and welcome to the Health IT Playground. It is 2025. I know I have been gone for some months. You guys have been asking, where are the new guests? Where are the new episodes? I have my first interview finally for you guys to see, and this is going to be a really good one. I actually found her or saw her on LinkedIn talking about Practicode, and I was like, what's going on? What is this? She has a lot of followers. Let me check her out. And I know some of you here may actually know who she is, but for those that don't know, you are going to want to know her and follow her after this interview. She has expertise in the world of not only education, but also healthcare coding. She has over 20 years of experience as a teacher in the Georgia public school system. Not only that, she is a certified professional coder, and she's an active medical coder who is not only working in the field, but she's also shaping it. Okay. She's a SME on the APC advisory board, and she's also a contributor of the AAPC magazine. So if you have not seen it, check back maybe 2 months ago or so. She actually was a co-author in that magazine, and she's just shaping the future of coding. She has expertise in Practicode. She's actually an SME of Practicode, and she also leads study sessions to help others grow in this specialty. And the craziest part of out of all of this is she's only been coding professionally for 2 years. Okay, you guys, not 15, not 20, 2 years. Okay, so for those that are like, oh my God, I've been looking for jobs forever. I can't find anything. I can't do this. 2 years, guys, 2 years. So if she can do it, we can definitely do it. So without further ado, let's welcome a big round of applause to Yedda Evans, CPC. Welcome to the Health IT Playground. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Julia, for such a great intro. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And like I was mentioning, I'm actually currently studying for my CPC as well at this current moment, for those that don't know. And it is not an easy thing to pass it, let alone be able to find a job in this market. So you are a testimony that it is possible. But before we dive into all of that, my first question always is, how did you actually learn and get your foot into health IT? What's your story?
Well, my story is my sister-in-law is actually in the medical field as well. She's a nurse and she wears many hats. And she just mentioned it. I had been saying for a minute that I knew it was time for me to transition from teaching in the public school system. My time was just up and it was okay. And so I was beginning to look for what was my next step going to be, my next journey. And so just over the years, just speaking it and saying it, I got a lot of responses. And so that's why the first thing I say is, please do not sit back in silence. Believe it or not, let people know your plan because that's how I'm here. Long story short, my sister-in-law was like, you know what? I think you would be good in coding. And the seed was dropped. And it from there. It was about 2 years for me to actually start school with APC, but that's where the seed was planted.
And why medical coding? Because there's so many routes that you can take to take part in health IT. So what made you say, I want to focus on the medical coding part of this industry? Why?
I like that question. It's a personal answer for me, but I love sharing it. I have a daughter who is chronically ill. She has a chronic condition, and it's nothing that really changes her quality of life. So we're really blessed, but it still can be very frustrating. And so, just in the years of dealing with the doctor's appointment, the we don't know what's going on, the medications, the just the ups and downs of everything, I'm always reading articles. I'm always reading what can we give her to help her, or maybe if something can help me see a pattern in what's going on with her. And so I was just always in it anyway. And so I think a lot of us are, we become our children's doctor,
Mm.
so to speak. And so the research slash kind of teacher in me got into the coding aspect of it, and it just meshed really well. It meshed really well for me. So actually my teaching background, as you can see, because that's what we're going to talk about a lot here today, is still a very big part of what I do. I just do it now in the coding world.
Gotcha. Got you. And talking about the medical coding, for those that are watching that are probably wondering, okay, I also want to go into medical coding and I want to do what you are currently doing. What would you tell them as a piece of advice as they're starting that journey? Because it is not easy and I see LinkedIn posts all the time where people are like, oh, I can't find any entry level positions. What's going on? All of this stuff. But it's possible, right? You are a good example of that. So, what's your advice for those people that are currently in that boat?
You just can't give up. You have to trust the process of life. And so this process is no different than any other process we go through, whether it's personal or family related. If we have children and we have goals with them or trying to see them through something, it's really no different. And so what I see a lot, it's just really, it's hard for people to intertwine stepping into the coding world while they still have their foot in their previous world. Like for me, I was still subbing, trying to still pay bills and things like that. So it was a big balance. So my biggest advice is no matter what it looks like, no matter what it sounds like, no matter what it feels like, just do not quit. Trust the process.
Okay. And you are a Practicode SME. And can you explain for those that are not fully aware what that is, why someone would even care about that as a medical coder?
Practicode is very important. Practicode matters because for those like me who are coming from a non-medical background, you have to remove that apprenticeship somehow, some way. And so there really, what I say is basically two ways to do it. You're either going to do it through Practicode or you're going to do it through real world experience, which means if you are working on a job and you are feeling that capacity of coding, then that will help you remove the A. So once again, I was coming from public school education, no medical background anywhere. So for me, my only option for removing my apprenticeship was Practicode. And so Practicode is very vital to the entire program. And so what I do is I try to get in there and just try to encourage people to keep their momentum and to understand how important Practicode is. So it gets the A off. And we all know, I don't know if you follow me, but we all know what's important. You have to get the A removed. And so it's the easiest way to do it. So I love Practicode, as we
How
know.
Sorry, how long does it take to get that A removed? What's the process to get that removed?
All right. So the process to get that removed is if you're going through APC, I'm going to use that avenue because that's the avenue I took. Are
Okay.
there many others? Yes, you can go through. We won't get into that, but CPC courses are offered everywhere through every organization and person and workshop. So we're going to stick with APC. So when you go through APC to become a certified professional, you are part of a program. And so in that program, you're going to get any prerequisite classes you need. You're going to get those live, or you can do self-paced CPC courses, and then you have Practicode. Okay, so it's an entire program. What we do see sometimes is a lot of learners completing the course and thinking I'm done, and they're not. And so another thing that I really do try to make clear and push is if you are not in the medical field currently, you have to take Practicode. It's not optional. So let's go ahead and jump in there as soon as you finish class. So it's just making sure, like you said, people are not clear on what the program looks like. What do I have to do? I finished class. I need to get a job. And there's just a couple of other steps in between to really secure your position and move forward.
Now, your story is amazing. I've seen so many posts. So I find it crazy that you're not only working so quickly after, but you are now an SME. And it's like a blessing. So my thing is, what did you do? What is your secret sauce that I need to write down for myself, playing for my CPC right now, that we all need to write down on how to be successful in this whole process?
All right, here's because I do have a secret sauce. So here
Okay.
it is. Everybody ready?
So you're watching the show and you're thinking, I want to talk about my college. I want to talk about my career. Well, I would love to have you. I am currently looking for speakers to talk about either their HIM program experiences or even about their career. So if you're interested in being on the Health IT Playground, please email me at riaready@gmail.com. Once again, the email is riaready@gmail.com. Now, back to the show.
Be authentically you. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
So how I was able to work so quickly and just get my foot in the industry.
Yeah.
First of all, I was vocal on LinkedIn. I was not working. I was going through these classes. I was taking Practicode. And so my frustrations, I turned around and I allowed them to be a blessing to me. because I was able to help others. Hey, if you're going through this, or here are some strategies, or what do you do after you bombed? Okay, people bombed the first interview. Just those things, just them hearing it from a real point of view. It's a lot to deal with. And that's really how I got started. As a teacher, I'm a talker. And so that's what I did, guys. I talked. I did what came natural for me.
Okay.
All right. And so it was easy. It wasn't anything I had to set time necessarily aside to do. Why? Because that's who I was. And so it almost was a vent session at some points on LinkedIn, but I did. I just reached out and I shared my story knowing that it would help. And then from there, people will notice. People will notice when you are walking in your thing, because there's so many words we can use for that. And I got noticed. Such a blessing. And so it was noticed by an instructor at APC. And she said, "You're giving so much good advice. Can you please come speak to my class?"
Oh,
You would think that, she offered me like $1 billion or something, but I was just so honored and I was so excited to share my journey and to just be helpful, because I didn't have that when I was at AEPC. I didn't know a lot of the resources that were there. And I found out that a lot of others don't either. And so I was just really excited to bridge that gap and to reach back and help the next person. And from there, I started speaking to classes. And remember all this, I'm not hired yet. In that process, I was like, I'm not going to leave any stone unturned. And I didn't. I applied for everything. And my first job was a contract job.
okay.
And a lot of people may have their little issues, but if you follow me at all, girl, we need to work. Okay. If you're like me, we need to work. Hey, call them back. Call them back. All right. And I did. And yes, it's lower pay and things like that. But for me, it ended up being a blessing. And I actually encourage it if it works for your situation. I learned so much. Yes, the pay is a little less, but other than that, it was a great environment. I was still coding. It was no different. It's just, it affects the pocket a little, but it's such a great experience. And so I got my foot in the door there while I was still speaking to the classes. And then from there, PC had said, "Hey, we see you're doing a lot for us without even getting paid for it. Why don't you come on over and we'll pay you for it?" And I was like, "Pay me for what?" And they were like, "You hold sessions and you do this and you have Practicode information sessions." And that is very helpful because we don't have anyone filling that space yet.
Look at you. What a blessing.
Guys, it was, when I say it was just me being me. It was some days on LinkedIn, I was frustrated, I was annoyed. Certain days I was high spirited. I just shared my journey and I gave back. And we all have a way to give back. You may think, "Oh no, I've had people tell me, oh, I was just a bartender for 20 years. You're a psychologist, sweetie. You have a lot to give." So I think we don't see it in ourselves when it's there. And so that is really the secret sauce. That's how I landed where I am. Just doing what I do, whether I was getting paid for it or not, whether I was getting recognized for it or not. I got up every morning and I shared my passion and I gave back. And regardless of what word you want to put on it, harm, it doesn't matter. You reap what you sow. And I just think that if you're diligent, and if you're consistent, and if you're positive, doesn't life always work out?
Yeah.
So it will with coding as well.
I just love how it's like you were in preparation for that, because the 20 years of teaching in the public school system, you're like, okay, I'm going to be a coder and I'm just going to be coding and that is it. And in some crazy way, you're still doing what you were doing before, but now you have this niche attached to it that you've learned. Like that's, okay.
What's crazy is I actually thought it. So I was like, "Oh, Lord, I want to code," because I felt it too. How could I have validity as a coder? How could I have that weight as a coder if I haven't been coding in a physician's office for 23 years like the rest of them? And so, yes, I have my feet in professional coding, but my heart is teaching with APC and helping students and helping them get through the program. And so I haven't struggled with that. Can I go full time? Is that what I do? But just follow it. Sometimes you just got to follow life and where it takes you. And so, yeah, this is not what I saw at all when I started coding at all.
That is crazy. Okay. And this is for us. I'm not a coder yet, obviously, but for those that are preparing to get that first role, were your expectations on what the day in the life of a medical coder would be, did that idea fit your reality once you did start working?
Not at all.
Different.
Not at all. It was much more relaxed.
Oh,
It was a supportive environment. I do say as a disclaimer, it depends on where you land, but the industry, I think on a whole, gets, I don't want to say a bad rap because a lot of it is valid, but it's a lot of good seasoned coders out there who
yeah.
want to help the new coders and who want to support us. And so it wasn't that cutthroat, you code wrong, you're gone, because that's real. Like you have seen people's stories on how that was them. And so it's real and it happens. And so I just had this horror story ready, this narrative written that I was going to get fired the first week because I was going to mess up something because I'm new. And I just had it all wrong. And I landed my first job and I was coding pulmonology, radiology, like all the words that scared me.
Yeah.
My whole thing was, Yedda, you're a coder. You code it all. And so during my interview process and things like that's how I would come off. Hey, I'm a coder. Code it all. And landed there my first week. They were the nicest, most supportive. My coding supervisor had this mantra, we're going to learn together. We had weekly meetings updating us on how to code, when to add modifiers. So if I had to sum it up, I just thought I was going to be like this loner coding in my closet at home. No support, sink or swim. And it wasn't like that at all. You become family, even though you're not in the same physical proximity with your peers, but they become your family. And I didn't think it was going to be like that. So I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was.
I love that. I love that because that's a mindset of mine too. I don't know. I just think of coding. I just think of isolation. You better get it right. If not, literally what you're saying, you're out of here. And so it's great to hear that, no, that's not always the case. You just have to find the right environment. You said that you just applied to everything. It was like, hey, coding, I'm just going to do it. And that may or may not be the best thing for some people who probably maybe are not prepared or not qualified for particular things. Were you actually applying for any job regardless of the experience required, or were you just applying for things that said entry level?
Everything,
Everything.
everything. And it's funny because when I say everything, I applied to the doctor's offices in my community. If you look, I'm in Georgia, so I'm in the suburbs of Atlanta, so it's pretty busy. But it was like 30 within a 5-mile radius. And I'm like, wow. And so when I say leave no stone unturned, I always say for my situation, I was ready to move on to my second career. My bills, guys, were ready for me to move on to my second career. Okay. So I left no stone unturned. And I was so eager to code. I was so eager to prove to myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
That so for so many reasons, I just had this, hey, I'll code it. Podiatry, I gotcha. Pediatrics, gotcha. And so I landed with cardiology. And it's funny because I was so intimidated. And you learn as you go. And like I said, you have a team that helps you. You have meetings that teaches you what to do according to your payers. And so for me, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Got you. And so I would love, because you are a teacher at heart like me, I would love to hear, I think, I don't know, we all have success stories, right? Students that you've worked with, and it's just, oh, like this student just sticks out to me. So being a Practicode SME, do you have a success story that just sticks out to you the most? It just puts a smile on your face every time you just think about it and just how you impacted that student's career.
Oh, yes, I do. Because this student was done. She was done with coding. She was done with APC. She was done with every aspect. And so when I came across the message, because as a coach and being on the Practicode project teams, I see it all, the cases, the rationales. I'm able to see where students are struggling and things like that, and to try to bridge that gap. And so I also see that frustration. And so what I do is when I see that frustration, not only do I answer your question, I say, hey, can I reach out to you and let's talk? And so this learner was done. She cussed everybody out. Everything was stupid. And she caught my heart because that was me. That was me taking Practicode, because when you don't do well, you tend to internalize. And so now I'm doubting, did I make the right move coming into coding? Am I letting my family down? It gets deep, guys. It gets deep. And so there's a lot going on. And so I recognize those emotions, and I love those students. I do. I really love them. And when we first started meeting, she was already 2/3 through the way. And so she did not pass, which was okay because we already had a plan if that happened. And when I tell you she took Practicode that second time around, because guys, it's free, you get a second chance, blew through it, grew so much, learned so much, and she ended up being the biggest fan of Practicode. And I'm just like, that's so crazy. But yeah, I have a couple of stories that just, it makes it all worthwhile.
So for my audience here, how do they, if they are at that Practicode step, how do they find a way to work with you? What are the steps that they would take to be able to be a part of your study sessions?
Oh, just send me an email so I can send them the link. My study sessions, all you need is the link. I use the same link every session. I try to hold 1 to 2 sessions a month, some months, maybe 3. It just depends. I try to get a feel on for what's needed. What I like about the sessions is they're very laid back. You can have your camera on or not. We can speak or not. Whether it's 3 of us, sometimes it's 30 of us. It's just very flexible. But we just learn together. And it's not just, oh, I'm on there speaking. No, we open our books. We talk about the codes that we've missed. We laugh. We talk about our kids. So it's really a support group. I really think of it as our support group. And so really just reach out to me. We're going to make sure you have my email before we go, and LinkedIn contact information. Just reach out to me, and then I will send you the link. And the best way to keep up with the dates is to be on LinkedIn. That's when I post the dates for the study sessions. I try to send them via email too, but lives. Okay. Sorry. But LinkedIn will always have them. And so, yeah, just go ahead and join LinkedIn, which you should be a part of anyway. And let's get the party started. Just email me or message me on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure we get you in. That's simple.
All right. So for those, including myself, I'll be there soon. We'll need to attend her sessions, okay? Okay, now I do want to talk about this co-author opportunity that you got. I know it wasn't planned to talk about this, but I want to know, these are for me too, guys. How did you actually get that opportunity? Because it is hard to get publications, especially with so many people, especially APC. That's a huge org. So how did that even land in your palm like that?
Okay. I always tell AAPC to close their ears sometimes when I'm doing my interview. I just went for it. Every time I'm around someone or in an environment, I'm always looking for a way to grow. I'm always looking for a way to grow, even though I am not qualified, even though I've never done it before, even though this falls so out of my realm of comfortability. I'm going to be like, hey, I'll try it. And I put it that way too. They know, hey, I'll give it a chance. All right, guys, roast me, but I'll try it. And so that's how it came up. I went for it. I was sitting in the meeting, the little quiet girl, because I'm the new kid. And yeah, they were talking about articles and things like that. And I just simply said, oh my gosh, I would love to do that one day. And that's all it took. And that day finally came. And yes, I actually had 4 co-authors because I needed a lot of help, people. It's easier said than done. But so I had a lot of help. And that's what I like to make sure that I'm clear on, guys. I didn't just up and write an article for APC by myself. I had a lot of help, a lot of editing, a lot of second eyes, third eyes on the article. But it goes back to leave no stone unturned. Do not let an opportunity come to you in an area that you're saying you want to thrive in, and you don't take it. And so that is my biggest thing. No, this didn't look how I wanted it to look in the beginning. Okay. But if I would have not trusted myself, because that's the biggest thing. I'm going to do an article. I don't trust no, trust yourself that you'll get through it. And I did. I got through it with, like I said, a lot of help. So you have to put yourself out there. That's how I was able to land an article with APC within 2 years of becoming a medical coder. But once again, let me make sure I put a spotlight on. They love me because I'm a new coder, and I'm very vocal on being a new coder and making sure that I have the resources to be successful and to continue to grow and to reach my goals, my long-term goals as well. And so not only am I very vigilant at making sure that I do everything, every project, every workshop, hey, can we talk? Yeah. I make sure that people understand what my need is as well. As a new coder, I'm going to need support. As a new coder and someone who's never written a medical author, I'm feeling a little about it. Can we talk about it? And so always make it a two-way street because you cannot do it alone. I would not be here if I tried to do it in my strength and my knowledge and my wisdom at this point in coding. I wouldn't be here. So I'm actually on the board. You did mention that.
Yes, y'all.
And I'm on it as, guess what? I do sit in a CPC position because we have every aspect of the medical industry represented on the board. So I hold the coder's seat, the CPC, but guess what? I also hold it as a new coder. So when I was invited to join the board at APC, it wasn't because Yedda knows it all. It's no, because Yedda is hungry. Yedda is passionate. Yedda has a voice and she's using it. So once again, guys, they didn't ask me because I'm perfect and I know it all. And oh my goodness, no. They wanted somebody who was going to speak up and who was going to connect with the students and with the new coders and be their voice and come back to APC and say, hey, we need more. Get with it. And once again, just me being authentically me is how I landed the article, and not just that, the position on the board. So grateful. Oh my goodness. Let me say that. I am so grateful. So grateful. And sometimes it's still a dream. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a board meeting today, guys. And I laugh about it. And it's so surreal. But yeah, it just goes back to what the sauce is. Just be you.
So you are already killing it right now in this medical coding game. But where do you see yourself in 10, 15 years? Because you're already doing things that people wish for in 10 years, right? So you're there. So where do you see yourself in 10, 15 years? Are you a university lecturer? What are you doing? I'm prophesying to you.
That's a good question. That's a good question. And I've thought about it a lot. I really see myself still in education. I want to do provider education. I want to really get in the doctor's offices and make sure these coders feel comfortable. I want to make sure coders understand that they have a great support system and they're not alone. Nobody's expecting you to be perfect. There is a certain integrity, of course, that we need to work up to and a standard we need to live by and work by. Don't get me wrong, but we're people. And even though we have AI that works hand in hand with us with coders, still coding is done by people. And so just for that alone, you're going to need grace. And so that's where I want to go. So APC, did you hear? Now watching me? I do. I want to do provider education. So I want to be the one when you're coding in your doctor's office, come in maybe quarterly and answer some questions and maybe do a presentation on some new codes that have hit that are affecting your office, that you're getting denials on and you don't know why. That's where I see myself going.
And I love that. You'll do great at anything. So I love that. I love that. I love that. For those that are watching right now, and I will have the actual information in the description, but for those that want to listen, where are the best places, platforms to reach out to you if they have any other questions about your practical study sessions or just want to just connect with you in general? Where should they go?
So the best place to go is LinkedIn. That's the best place to go because not only can you connect with me there, you can see a lot of resources that I've posted over the years, a lot of strategies, just a lot of everything. And not just that, I'm connected, guys, to a lot of great coders and great people. And so there you can also start to network and kind of build your own team. So please go to LinkedIn and find me there. It's Yedda Evans, CPC, very straight and simple. And you can also reach out to me by email, and that's yedda.evans@aapcfaculty.com.
All right. And before we close, this is the new thing that I'm doing. It's a little game. It's going to be 3 questions, this or that. All right. So are you up for the game?
Okay.
First one, this or that. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Okay. Chocolate. Cats or dogs?
Dogs. That was a hard one.
Dogs. Why dogs?
That was a hard one. Yeah, that was a hard one. Why dogs? Why not? Dogs are just that pet. It's hard too. And my home is split as well. One daughter wants a dog, one daughter wants a cat. So we're just split down the line. And I can't really pinpoint why I'm a dog person, but I just would have to go with dogs. I'm a dog person.
Last one. And this Really big for medical people, early mornings. Coffee or tea? Tea. Oh, you're a tea girl. I feel so grown. Because I was a coffee girl and I realized, girl, you put all that cream and sugar and yours is latte now with the caramel. No, that's not what it's for. So I told my husband, I feel so adult-like drinking tea every morning. It is very mature to drink teas. It is, but I love coffee. So I just love to be around the smell and people drinking it. But I do drink tea every morning. Sorry, guys. Fine. Love the smell of coffee, but tea is always a better choice, in my opinion. Teach his own. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this channel. I hope that this was helpful to those that are watching this channel. If you have any other questions for her, feel free to reach out to her. Follow her on LinkedIn. Make sure that she hasn't answered the question already because she has a lot of posts that she does. She may have already answered your question already. But if not, feel free to reach out to her. Practicode students, find her, schedule that session with her. I'm going to do it too in the future once I'm at that stage. I'm almost there. I will see you guys on another episode on the Health IT Playground. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.